Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to part 2 of my knotless box braid tutorial. And in this part, I will show you how to actually install a knotless box braid my way. Okay, here I have sectioned out the nape area of the back of her head from ear to ear, and I've also sectioned out every area where I want to put a knotless box braid. And now I am going to take the Shine and Jam and apply it to her actual hair. Her hair is kind of tangled, so I have to detangle it after I apply this, but I want it along the entire shaft of the hair as much as I can without overdoing it with the product, so that it can help as a smoothing agent to smooth out her frizziness and so that we can have a nice and neat braid. Here I am gathering the hair together to separate it into 3 equal parts, as equal as I can get it before feeding in the pieces of hair to start the braid off. Right here I am positioning my fingers to get ready to feed in the first piece of hair. So I'm going to now grab that first piece of hair and then I'm going to feed it in right in between my pointer finger and my middle finger. And then that's when I'm going to do my first crossover. And I'm going to come back again, grab another piece, and do another crossover. And as you see, I've added 4 pieces of hair into this braid, and typically I always try to match the density of the person's hair to how much braiding hair that I'm adding. So if the person has really fine hair, I'm not going to add in super thick pieces because then it will just look weird and you will have this knot type of look at the root of the braid, and that defeats the purpose of it being a knotless braid. So you really want to try to make sure that you feel for the density of the person's hair and that you're adding in the right size pieces into the braid so that you get a nice consistent looking braid. And right here, I'm just going to show you those steps one more time in case you need to see it one more time again. Hopefully this is a little bit of a better angle. I'm just going to add the Shine and Jam on there all over her hair, smoothing it in. And we're going to detangle once more, and I always start off detangling with a wide tooth comb first, and then I will move over to a finer tooth comb to just really make sure that all those knots and those kinks are out. Okay, and here we are again, getting our fingers together to separate the hair into 3 equal parts, and we're going to position our hands without doing any crossovers to grab that first piece of hair, feeding it in between the pointer finger and the middle finger. Sorry, my daughter is out of frame here. I had to keep reminding her to sit up. And we're going to do that first crossover and then come back to the right side and grab another piece. Now you don't have to add it in only on the right side. If you're dominantly left-handed, you can feed them in from the left side. I just like to consistently keep it feeding in from one side so I know how many pieces I'm adding in, and I won't add too much to where the braid will grow really, really thick really fast, because you want it to be a nice gradient effect. You want it to go from narrow to wide, from root to end. Now I've separated another section of hair going across the back of the head, and I just wanted to show you that I used the rat tail comb to go in there and try to get as many stray hairs as possible, because it does make a difference. Your parts will really help your style come out nice and neat and clean. I am a stickler about parts. I feel like they make the style. In this part right here, I just really want to emphasize brick layer parting. Brick layer parting really helps your braids to look very uniform, and it really helps to fill in any gaps that may occur if you just part the braids very symmetrical, parallel, right on top of each other. So what I like to do is take the rat tail comb and part it down the section where I would like, and I want to make sure that my new part, is right on top of the braid that's underneath it. Hopefully looking at it, it makes more sense, but I just really want to make sure that part is right on top of the braid that's underneath it. And then I apply Shine and Jam to that part. That will help lay down any stray hairs. And then I go in with my awesome barber comb that's only like $1 at the beauty supply store. And it has a really sharp point, so you don't want to press too hard against the scalp, but it gives you a clean part almost every time, especially when you pair it in there with that Shine and Jam. So then after that, I just section off their hair, grab a little metal clip, and move on to the next section and start parting that. And watch how I take that comb and boom, I make sure it touches the top of the braid underneath it. That's how I know my part is going to be in the brick layer. Going with the Shine and Jam, going with the barber comb, and you got yourself a clean part, sis. So when you have a piece of hair that doesn't want to cooperate in marrying with the braiding hair, just take some of your Shine and Jam, comb it through with a comb, and smooth it on in there, and it should act all the way together. And you see here how that section of hair is kind of separated at the root. You just go in with your comb and then smooth it on out with your finger, and it closes that gap right on up. Now for the front section of the hair, I like to put a part right down the center of the head. This just makes sure that I have an even amount of braids on each side of her head. I don't want to have 8 braids on one side and then 11 braids on the other side, because then it'll look really uneven. And the cool thing is with knotless box braids, as many of you may know, that it's no tension or very low tension. So if you do desire that side part, you can just flip your hair to the side if you want to immediately after your style is completed, because there's no tension to it. But I always recommend starting the top portion of the head off with the middle part, and then making sure that you have the even amount of braids on each side of the head so that you look very symmetrical. And here, in my opinion, is the best shot that I could get for you guys of how each step is done. This is a really awesome angle. My arm's not all in the way, and the lighting is pretty good. So just go ahead. I'm not going to speed this part up because I really want you guys to see this part in detail. And right here, I'm just going in with some edge control to go in and smooth and mold out the edges just a little bit before starting this braid over here on the edge. And in the first video that I have, I'm going to attach it again in the description box. I really encourage you to go back and check that out because I have a list of every single product that I used in this video. The whole layout is in that first video. One thing I wanted to point out was that I am holding the root of her braid, of her hair, very taut, not super tight. I'm not creating tight bumps or anything like that, but I'm holding the roots of her hair really taut so that it doesn't unravel underneath your fingers. As you are going to hold to feed in different pieces, you see I'm not loosening my grip at all on the braid. So you just want to make sure that you hold everything very, very taut so nothing loosens up underneath your fingers, because there's nothing worse than, you know, having a good braid start and then everything unraveling underneath your fingers because you loosened up for a second.
Oh, it's we big crafted.
Oh, Mommy.
Yes.
And right here, I wanted to show you how to make sure that the top of the hair looks very, very neat. You want to follow the part that you created on the first side that you started on and just continue it on the opposite side to make sure that the braids come out nice and even, nice and symmetrical, nice and clean. It doesn't look, all jagged like you're playing Tetris with the braids. It just looks nice, clean, and professional. Now that the braids are completed, I put a wrap strip right around her edges just to hold that down while I apply the setting foam mousse to her hair. I was using Vigorol styling mousse, like an aerosol can type of styling mousse. I was using that, but I didn't really care for it. I feel like it wasn't really laying down the flyaways, so I switched over to setting foam loose. Like if you were doing a pixie cut and molding your hair with that type of foam, that's the type of foam I use now, and it gets nice and sticky, and I really notice the difference. And I'm just dipping her hair right here to seal the ends and to take some of the stiffness out of those braids. Of course, remaining extremely careful, making that you don't burn your client or your child or yourself. And right here, I'm just adding a few silver accessories to her hair, just for a little extra razzle dazzle, make her feel cute and whatnot. She was excited. And now we move over to styling her hair. I decided that I wanted to put it up in a bun, and so that it's up and out of the way and out of her face. She usually likes her hair down, but I wanted to show you guys that you can style these right away and it not be painful even on a little girl, because these are truly low tension, no tension braids.
Whoa! Betty, I'm at fall now.
Yeah, she thought she was cute now. Actually, she was beautiful. Just adding a few more accessories, and here is the finished look. You guys should give it a try. Leave some comments down if you tried knotless box braids before, and let me know if my tutorial even helped you. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you for watching this video, guys. I'll see you next time.